Good afternoon, Atlantic City, Atlantic County, the great United States of America. This is Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour. I am Jimmy Whitehead, and we are here today to talk about something very extraordinary is getting ready to happen. But before I do, I wanted to take a moment first, and I know everybody, I want to read this little article here. Something tragic happened on Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving. One of two members of the National Guard who were shot in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday died, U.S. President Donald Trump said. Sarah Beckstrom, 20-year-old, 20, died from her injuries while the second National Guard member, 24-year-old Andrew Wolf, is fighting for his life, Trump said on Thursday evening. Both were shot at close range near Farragut Square. That's a subway stop in D.C. that I always used to get off on when I was working at for a law firm called Howry and Simon, and also when I worked for the White House under the Reagan Bush administration. You always got off at Farragut Square. That's like a block from the White House. In downtown D.C., just after 1400 Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. Police have arrested one suspect in the shooting, Rahmanullah Lakwal, a young 29-year-old from Afghanistan. On Friday, the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. announced the initial charges of assault against the suspect will be upgraded to murder in the first degree, and it should be. It should be the electric chair. Here's on Thanksgiving, some patriotic National Guard who are just doing their job, just serving America, helping with the whole effort in D.C. to clean up crime. They're just following their orders. A soldier follows their orders. Regardless of what branch of military you're in, the first thing you're taught in boot camp is to follow your orders. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Stand at attention, etc. She had to be there because she was ordered to be there. And she was ordered to be there because she was a patriot serving her country as a National Guard. And she gets killed the day before Thanksgiving. That's somebody's daughter. That's probably somebody, but she's only 20 years old. She might be a mother. The other gentleman, other National Guard, Andrew Wolf, he's 24. So they're both young adults who didn't deserve to be killed while serving on their post. So before I get into some of the other subject, I'm going to take a 30-second silent break as a tribute to this National Guard that was killed. So please bear with me. May God bless Sarah Beckstrom's family as well as Andrew Wolf during this difficult time. God bless them. I believe that's why the flags were flying at half-mast right now. I was with my partner, Grayson Whitehead, over the Thanksgiving holiday here, and we saw the post office, some other places had half-mast. I told him it's probably a half-mast for the National Guard who were killed serving their duty down in D.C. Because, he wants to go to the Naval Academy. So I teach him that the first thing you got to do in the military is follow orders. You got to be 4-0. 4-0 means you are squared away, you're sharp. That's the top in terms of your grading that you get. I've had some grading when I was in the Navy. I wasn't always 4-0, but most of the time I was. But that's sad. But I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving with their family. I hope everybody had a safe and very blessed Thanksgiving. because traveling, etc. I was traveling myself, Grayson and I. Hold on a second. And, thank God everything was safe and we are home safe and everything is good. But it was a nice Thanksgiving holiday. I went to spend it with my niece and my nephew, and I saw some cousins. And Grayson was thrilled that one of our cousins um, owns 5 McDonald's down in North Carolina, and her husband flies. He got a lot of little airplanes. He likes to fly those small planes, and he also has a beautiful Corvette with 495 horsepower. So Gracie got a chance to sit in the Corvette, and he learned something about the red tails from this gentleman. As you all know, is Tuskegee Airmen. So Grayson right away started researching red tails because he wants to go in the Navy, but in the Naval Academy. But what he wants to do is be a Navy flyer. So Grayson wants to go in the Navy to design weapons and fly airplanes. So I'm trying to help him as much as I can. But what I wanted to talk about today, something I'm very excited about, it's going to be a first time in history something like this is happening. So it's unprecedented. And I'm going to tell you where the vision came from, where it started, and where we are, and what it's all about. Now, for those of you who live in Atlantic coastal towns, I'm talking about Atlantic City, Brigantine, Longport, Margate, Pleasantville, and Ventnor. I'm just doing them in alphabetical order. In the tourism district, which is the property in between Atlantic Avenue and the beach, where all the casino hotels are. So if you took a red pencil and started at the Ocean Casino and bring it all the way down to, let's say, Knife and Fork, and make a circle around that whole area. That's Atlantic Avenue all the way down here, then go back up to Stockton, then come back around from Stockton, make a big circle, and go around the Ocean Hotel. All of that property right there is referred to as an opportunity zone. Now, an opportunity zone was created under President Trump's first administration. It was actually drafted by Cory Booker, Senator Scott from South Carolina, and Ben Carson, who was the Secretary of HUD at the time. So it was a bipartisan team that came up with this opportunity zone concept under President Trump's first administration. And inside that circle that we just drew from Stockton over to Ocean, down Atlantic Avenue, right there by the beach, the boardwalk, all of that property, which is an opportunity zone, if an investor, whether you're a small investor or a big investor, if you're a small business, any investment you make in that area and you apply for all of the qualifications that you need to apply for, you don't have to pay taxes on your investment for 10 years. So if you invested, let's say, $50,000 or $100,000 or $1 million or 5 or 10 million, or if you invested $100 million in that opportunity zone, you don't have to pay taxes, federal taxes on that money for 10 years. Now, at the end of 10 years, you have to pay some taxes here and there. Somebody smarter than me, who is a CPA math person, deals with that angle, because my lane is federal, state, and local government. In that area, you could invest in a beauty shop. You can invest in a fingernail place that you go get your nails done. You could invest in a a painting company, a technology company, a construction company. You can invest in some condominiums. You can invest in a lot of different things. And you do the right paperwork, you don't have to pay in taxes on that investment for 10 years. So about in the summertime, well, actually a couple years ago, the first doctor, Arthur Nahas, a dear friend of mine's, a local doctor in Atlantic County, his office over there in Northfield, but his home has been Atlantic City for many years. Dr. Nahas had an idea to do an AI project that would be called the AI doctor, because he wanted to use AI with healthcare, medical services to help provide services better, faster, etc. What you do with AI. So Dr. Nahas and I started talking about the doctor AI, artificial intelligence stuff several years ago. And then in the summertime, I met this wonderful gentleman named Dr. Joseph Baritone. And Dr. Baritone is a dentist. And I went to get some work done with him. And he started telling me, he said, my wife and I have been following the things that you're doing in Atlantic City with cybersecurity and artificial intelligence and the data-driven focus that we have under U.S. Heart, which is a nonprofit 501c3, with our Cyber Guardian workforce training program, which comes under U.S. Heart, and everything we've been focused on. Dr. Baritone said, I want to get involved with this industry, cybersecurity, AI industry, etc. I said, that would be wonderful. I said, let's work together. I said, you know a lot of people. I said, let's pull together an event and let's talk about plans to mobilize an initiative that would bring together all 6 Atlantic coastal cities. And the first thing he did, he called this wonderful mayor of Margate, Michael Collins. And Mayor Collins and I talked several times. And he too liked the idea of let's bring all 6 of the leadership of all 6 cities together. And let's figure out how all 6 cities can collaborate and all of them benefit equally. Okay? Bring all 6 mayors together in alphabetical order based on the cities. Atlantic City Mayor Marty Small Sr., who has been supporting our efforts from day one when we were first the Envision Center. And I think that was in the first Trump administration. Brigantine Mayor, the Honorable Mayor Vince J. Serra, who is an extraordinary mayor about transparency and keeping his constituency informed about what's going on with development, what's going on with the money, what's going on with the taxes, what's going on with everything in Brigantine. I have never seen any mayor as wonderfully transparent as Vince Serra is. So I just like that style of transparency he does. Longport Mayor, the Honorable Mayor Patrick Armstrong. Michael Ruffew, our commissioner, Atlantic County Commissioner, is reaching out to him. Of course, we have Margate Mayor Michael Collins is actually going to serve as the inaugural leader of what we're calling Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone project. That's a lot of words, but there's meaning. Okay, I'm gonna say it again because I just make it short. I say ACTDOZ, because that's ACTDOZ. And that's the acronym for, here's the long one. We got to come up with a shorter version, but I'm calling it what it is. Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone. Because our opportunity zone sits inside the tourism district. And the tourism district sits on the Atlantic coast. So it's Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone. I know that's a mouthful, but it is what it is. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen here. So we reached out, and also so we got Margaret Mayer, our inaugural leader, ACTDOZ leader, Pleasantville Mayor, the Honorable Mayor Judy Ward, and Ventnor Mayor, the Honorable Mayor Tim Cribel. So we have set a date for December 15th. That's next month. And we're going to have a meeting at Resorts Casino Hotel, a breakfast meeting. You guys who have been to some of my Atlantic City Business Roundtable breakfasts in the past, you know what I'm talking about. We're going to have a fabulous room, very elegantly done up, a buffet, a breakfast buffet that is just to live for. Everything's from pancakes to waffles to eggs and turkey bacon, some regular bacon, sausage, croissants, juices, everything. I mean, Resorts lays it out for us every time. And we're very thankful to President Mark Giantonio and his wonderful staff for always just giving us some extraordinary service. And he does it because he wants to help us help Atlantic City become the greatest oceanfront city in America again. He wants to see this beautiful oceanfront town become beautiful like the other towns that surround us. Because there is a stark difference between Margate, Ventnor, Longport, Brigantine, Atlantic City, and Pleasantville. So instead of us being divided with Dr. Joseph Baritone, Dr. Arthur Nahas, and Michael Cohan of New Vistas Corp. Michael Cohan is like my brother. I call him my blonde brother. But the thing that's cool about Michael, he was the very first executive director of CRETA when it was first formed. The homes that are back in the inlet on New Hampshire Avenue, etc., the Cove, those homes were built under Michael Cohan's executive directorship. So Michael understands, and he also New Vistas Corporation. He has an incredible company that manages hundreds of properties throughout the state of New Jersey. He builds homes, he builds buildings. He understands the intricacies of what it takes to build a community like the community on New Hampshire Avenue. So by bringing these distinguished gentlemen together and reaching out for the support of Commissioner Reverend Colin Days, who we want to work with. We haven't talked yet, but we do want to work with our new commissioner. Commissioner Andrew Parker and I have had several discussions because Commissioner Parker is brilliant when it comes to technology. He's very engaged in it. And Commissioner Michael Ruffew, who the good thing about Commissioner Ruffew, he's also an attorney. And his grandfather, or maybe his great-grandfather, was, I think, one of the first mayors of Atlantic City, if not the first. But his great-grandfather was a mayor in Atlantic City. His dear aunt, who was my best friend in Atlantic City, Carol Ruffew, is the reason that Commissioner Ruffew and I got to meet each other before he was a commissioner. So we have all of these, and then we have the president of U.S. Heart, Horace Jones. And many of you know Horace Jones has been managing the Cyber Guardians Workforce Training Program. He's put together the infrastructure for the program. Him and another gentleman that works a lot with him put together the lessons that we're teaching. very deeply engaged defense cybersecurity workforce training, and we're very appreciative of Horace's leadership. But this group of individuals is the first layer of folks that we're bringing together to talk about how we can all work together in the Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone and mutually benefit. I'm going to give you a simple example of what I'm talking about. Let's say that we get a grant from the federal government for $600,000 to provide cybersecurity workforce training, the same thing that we're doing right now, and get deeper. Well, what we'll do is that each one of those cities, each one of those coastal cities, 6 cities, will receive $100,000 each worth of cybersecurity training, and it will not cost their taxpayers any money. It won't cost their government any money, their municipality any money, because this is a program that we're promoting that the president wants to see done, and other folks in Congress want to see done, and other Americans want to see done, because what we're doing is training cyber guardians to help protect America, to keep America's infrastructure safe, whether it's the electric grid or whether it's the city's data systems, or it's the bank, the financial institutions, or whether it is the drugstore where seniors get their medication. Just imagine a cyber attack on one of the 6 cities, or on all of the 6 cities at the same time. And during this attack, the attack is done directly on the healthcare providers, the hospitals, and the pharmacies, the drugstores. Now, just think about how many senior citizens won't be able to get their medication for high blood pressure or anything they're going through because it's shut down everything. Or either their data could be destroyed and they have to go back through the whole process to try to get a doctor to get them another prescription because their data has been destroyed. Some of it at the time is called cyber ransom. You know, when a cyber attack happens and the cyber villains say, look, either you give us $100 million or we're going to destroy everybody's record. I mean, they had a couple of years ago, the MGM had a cyber attack, a cyber ransom attack. It cost them a lot of money, millions, tens of millions. For all we know, it could have cost them hundreds of millions. So that's what we're doing. So if we provide all 6 cities cybersecurity workforce training in their most vulnerable areas, and we make sure that we call critical infrastructure folks are trained. That's the folks who take care of the water systems. Because just think if the cyber attack happens with the water system or the sewage system or any of the systems that impact municipalities. So that's one way to look at it. We get $600,000, and I just use that number. I pull that number out the air, and we divide it by all 6 municipalities. So everybody mutually benefits. Everybody's coming together to figure out how to work together to make the Atlantic coastal cities, including Atlantic City and Pleasantville, the greatest oceanfront coastal cities in America. Now let's take another example. Let's say that somebody who's in the cybersecurity business or the data business or the AI business, they want to invest $10 million in the opportunity zone to develop a new business. It may be an AI business. It may be somebody that wants to manufacture some of those semiconductor chips or a component of the chips. Regardless, say somebody wants to invest $10 million in the opportunity zone to do a new business. Well, our Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone, our mutually beneficial initiative for all 6 cities, let's say that with this $10 million investment, there's going to be an aggregate the creation of about 60 jobs, from construction to the finished when you're hiring people working there. Let's say 60 jobs. Let's say it might be some restaurants in the bottom of the building too. Well, we're going to make sure that this organization focus can make sure that 10 jobs are created for each of the cities. So we create 60 jobs or we create 6 jobs. Each city will divide that up equally. Okay. And that's just a small start of unifying our efforts, unifying resources so that we bring down the cost to taxpayers, while at the same time we elevate the level of workforce training we're providing, grants that we're bringing in, mutually beneficial opportunities for all 6 cities: Atlantic City, Brigantine, Longport, Margate, Pleasantville, and Ventnor. Sometimes you have to do things differently. And to show you that we're not just whistling Dixie about this idea, now remember this: Atlantic City Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone. And while it's not in color, and I posted in color because it's real pretty, what we have is on the top is all of the city's logos, okay? And the common denominator is the nonprofit to bring them all together. And when I post this online, you'll see it's very beautiful, a lot of beautiful colors, I think, and they're for each one of the cities that's on our coast, okay? So let's say we had a strategic partnership, we start focusing on it. Well, I talked to a couple of people about it, the mayors and a couple other folks. And everybody thought not only was it a good idea, they said it's unprecedented. It has never been done before. And because a lot of times when I think about doing things, most of the time I think about doing things for the nation. And I guess that might be my background working for President Reagan and President Bush for 12 years and working for Jack Kemp when he was a congressman, or being in the military. I always think about how do we collectively collaborate amongst each other for the good of our community and the good of America. So everybody knows I'm a very bipartisan individual when it comes to politics and business, family values, etc. I'm bipartisan. Regardless of who wins the election, I'm going to work with the governmental institution that governs us. So that means whoever is there, I'm working with them. So one of my dear friends, Claire Swift, Assemblywoman Claire Swift, she heard that I was working on pulling this whole initiative together. And she didn't hesitate to send me something to show that we're not just whistling Dixie here. This is not a pipe dream. Check this out. There's an organization, Claire, Assemblywoman Swift sent me, called the New Jersey Coastal Management Program. Show you how God works. Okay, God brought the idea in from this distinguished group of individuals, from Dr. Baritone, Dr. Nahas, Michael Cohen, Mayor Small, Mayor Vince Sierra, Mayor Marty Small Sr., Mayor Vince Sierra, Mayor Patrick Armstrong, Mayor Michael Collins, Mayor Judy Ward, Mayor Tim Cabell. Bring this group together, not knowing about this. Now check this out. Show you how God works. Because I don't want to offend nobody, but God may be a capitalist. Okay, don't go crazy on me for saying that. Okay, I'm just having a little humor. But the dollar does says, "In God we trust." Okay, I didn't make that up. That's real. So there's an organization called the New Jersey Coastal Management Program. Now check this out. New Jersey's Coastal Management Program, NJCMP, is part of the National Coastal Zone Management Program, which addresses some of today's most pressing coastal issues, including sustainable and resilient coastal community planning, climate change, ocean planning, and planning for energy facilities and development. It is a voluntary partnership between the federal government and U.S. coastal and Great Lakes states in territories authorized by the Coastal Zone Management Act, CZMA, of 1972, and administered by the National Atmospheric and Oceanic Administration, NOAA, NOAA, the NJCMP, New Jersey Coastal Management Program, is comprised of a network of offices within the Department of Environmental Protection that serve distinct functions yet share responsibilities that influence the state's coastal areas. An important aspect of the New Jersey Coastal Management Program is ensuring that coastal resources and ecosystems are conserved as a vital part of local, state, and federal efforts to enhance sustainable coastal communities. So, all of the cities that we talked about, Atlantic City, Brigantine, Longport, Margate, Pleasantville, will include Pleasantville because they need it, and Ventnor are all coastal cities, coastal communities. New Jersey's coastal zone encompasses tidal and non-tidal waters, waterfronts, and inland areas. The coastal zone includes Hudson River from the interstate border with New York and related tidal waters south of Raritan Bay. It continues along Raritan Bay, then extends south from Sandy Hook to Cape May Point, encompassing the state territorial waters of the Atlantic Ocean and associated tidal water bodies. From Cape May Point, the coastal zone trends north to Trenton and contains waters of the Delaware Bay and the river and includes tidal portions of their tributaries. Upland areas along these tidal waterways are included within the coastal zone. New Jersey's coastal zone boundary encompasses approximately 1,800 miles of tidal coastline, including 126 miles along the Atlantic Ocean front from Sandy Hook to Cape May. It ranges in width from 100 feet to 16.5 miles. The coastal zone is comprised of the following boundaries: inland, seaward, and interstate. A description of each of these boundaries follows. So this is my point. There is laws already in place to support what we want to do with our Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone. We don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. And thank you very much, Assemblywoman Claire Swift, for providing me with this good information. We just needed to bring everybody together, the leaders, the leadership of the coastal cities. We just needed to bring them together with no particular agenda, but to have a delicious breakfast, number one. And then we're going to ask the mayors, what is their thought? What thought do they have that could help this collaboration work very well? Because it's going to work, but we want it to work very well. And once we start pulling these decisions together, I want you to think about what kind of business may you want to start inside the Opportunity Zone. You see all the stuff over there what they call the orange loop? That's the Opportunity Zone. The orange loop entrepreneurs are taking advantage of the Opportunity Zone, and they're not having to pay taxes on what they invest to grow their enterprise. So I want you to start thinking about what kind of small business do you want to start in Atlantic Coastal Opportunity Zone that is a collaboration of the 6 coastal cities. An unprecedented collaboration, a historic collaboration, which could be that economic paradigm change that Atlantic City needs. Atlantic City needs all of these other cities to be its friend. Atlantic City needs these other cities to be its public-private partner, P3, public-private partnerships. Atlantic City needs the love of capitalism working in a compassionate way, or as Jack Kemp would call it, compassionate capitalism. I do know that our wonderful mayor, Marty Small, is very open to work with everybody. As long as you're an Eagle fan, I mean, don't come to the table saying you're a Redskin fan, because he might not like you. But Marty Small, Mayor Marty Small Sr., as I said, has been the catalyst of what we are mobilizing right now, because he was there in the beginning. He gave us an opportunity. He supported us. And now the other mayors, they're fabulous leaders, and they want to do what's best for their communities and their cities. And this could be a divine opportunity, because I had no idea that the New Jersey Coastal Management Program was in place to be used by the Atlantic Coastal Tourism Opportunity Zone project. That's divine intervention. Okay? So I'm really excited about this right now. And if you want to know more about it, just Google opportunity zones and get a little background about it, get some data. If you're interested in this breakfast that we're having on December 15th from 8:30 to 11:30, please send me an email at james.whitehead at us-hart.org. Again, that's James, James, Whitehead at us-hart.org. Let me see if I have one of my business cards. I can see if I can put it close enough to the screen and show everybody. Let me see. Okay. If you can see that, that's my email address. It's backwards, huh? James. Yeah, it's backwards. But if you are interested, we have a limited amount of seats. Of course, the first seating that we're having is a number of officials. We also want to extend an invitation to the governor-elect to come to this very unique gathering, think tank of the coastal mayors. I think it would be fabulous if her schedule allows her to come by. We have some other special guests. We have some folks coming, I believe, from U.S. Housing Urban Development, HUD, and they are the experts of the Opportunity Zone. They're the experts in the public-private partnership space, and a lot of that stuff originated at HUD. So, particularly the Opportunity Zones, because the Opportunity Zones was drafted so that it would encourage investors to come into towns like Atlantic City and invest money so that jobs could be created for local folks who need jobs. And we just taken it a step further. We're going to make it a collaborative effort between all 6 of our Atlantic coastal cities, starting with Atlantic City, Honorable Mayor Marty Small Sr., Brigantine Mayor, Honorable Mayor Vince J. Sierra, Longport Mayor, the Honorable Mayor Patrick Armstrong, Margate, Honorable Mayor Michael Collins, our actual inaugural ACTDOZ leadership, Pleasantville, the Honorable Mayor Judy Ward, and Ventnor, the Honorable Mayor Tim Corbell. I need you guys to pray that we can pull this together, but right now it looks good. I mean, it'll be a wonderful way to start 2026 with an extraordinary collaboration like this of the coastal cities. Again, if we start one business and it creates 6 jobs, each city will have an employee working there. If we start a business that creates 60 jobs, there'll be 10 jobs distributed per city. If we get a grant for $600,000, or we get a grant for $100,000, it will be equally divided between the 6 cities in terms of providing workforce training, particularly for critical infrastructure employees, government employees, bank employees, healthcare employees. We have to protect the coastal cities from future cyber attacks from folks like China and Russia and the bad guys that are already in the country trying to figure out how to take us down. This is all about America. So let the Atlantic coastal cities get together like a bunch of patriots, and let's figure out how to work together for the good of the city, for the good of the county, for the good of the state, and for the good of the United States of America, the greatest country in the world. So this is Jimmy Whitehead checking out the Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour. Thank you for joining me. Please share my video with folks. You can also subscribe. I'm still learning how to do this. I'm getting a little better at it, y'all. It just takes time. Young Hitter is my instructor. His name is Kashan Wyman. He's the IT guy at City Hall and brilliant young man. But he's been training me. I'm still learning. So bear with me as I move forward with my podcast and pray for us as we move forward with this extraordinary collaboration of the Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone project for our 6 wonderful coastal cities: Atlantic City, Brigantine, Longport, Margate, Pleasantville, and Ventnor. And with that, I'll say, God bless everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful, blessed Thanksgiving holiday with their family. And keep on supporting the Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour. Help me spread the word. Let's all work together. Let's all collaborate. Let's all change the Atlantic coastal cities together. Particularly Atlantic City needs help. Pleasantville needs help. We can all work together and learn from each other, and we can all work together as patriots and help protect America. God bless you. Have a blessed weekend.